Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. Blood is such an important commodity. It brings oxygen and nutrients to all parts of our body to keep them functioning. It also transports carbon dioxide and other waste materials out of the body through the lungs, kidneys, and digestive system. Sometimes people lose blood, and it is no longer sufficient due to accidents and childbirth, among other things. And that's where blood donation and transfusion comes in. Lagos State has been in the blood service business for 20 years and says through its activities, over 1.5 million lives have been saved. Also, it has been able to recruit 2 million voluntary blood donors. Joining me on the program is consultant hematologist and executive secretary of the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Service, LSBTS, Dr. Bodunri Oshikomaya. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's nice to see you once again.
Yes, always good.
Yeah.
So, let me take your mind back.
Yeah.
What was it like when the blood service in Lagos started? Maybe you weren't there, but at least you will know some of the history.
Yes, honestly, it's been a wonderful 6 months knowing more about the history of the agency I work with. So before the blood transfusion service was created by law in 2004, the blood collection processes, the number of available safe blood was not just enough. People will collect blood the way they feel is right because there was really no guidelines, operating procedures to do it. Cold chain was very poor. Screening of blood was really poor because we had to depend on rapid test kits if they were available. So most of the time they would just test for things like HIV and probably hepatitis B only. And that is because most of these kits were donated by non-governmental organizations that had partnerships with the Lagos State government. And so blood wasn't safe at that time. And we had a lot of commercial donors that were also not well screened before blood was collected. So it was really crude at that time.
And that means that there might have been some infections going around.
Yes, it was because of such infections that the Lagos State government, through old former governor, now our president, went ahead to say that we must do something about it. We could not continue with that narrative.
Okay, so what are the major achievements in infrastructure that you're particularly proud about?
Thank you for that question.
Yes. You love this, don't you?
I do, because over time I've seen things change. I trained in Lagos State and I have been in the health business since 2005. So I am able to say a lot of things have changed. So now we have blood donation centers within hospitals that have specific, at least they have minimal equipment.
They were not in hospitals before?
Well, they were there, but some of them did not have the minimal, like when you see them with donor couches, some of them might just have chairs, some of them might not have all what we have now. So over time, we have been able to upgrade the blood donation centers within the lab. So each lab usually has a blood transfusion center. But now the blood transfusion center, the blood donation centers are at par, as in to international best standards. And it has gone around hospitals. Then not all hospitals had donation centers or blood transfusion services, especially hospitals that were not very active in blood donation. Also, we have more private blood banks that have been licensed by the blood transfusion service.
You work in consonance with this blood bank?
So the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Service, also the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Committee, is the agency that regulates all of them. Okay. No private blood bank can come up and say they want to practice blood banking services without having a license from the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Committee. And before we can give you that license, we will look at your infrastructure. How many rooms do you have? What is the space that is there? How many equipment that you have? What is the minimal equipment that you have? What is your personnel like? So those are the things we have. And we also have 3. We've expanded the voluntary donation centers. Before, there was just one voluntary donation center. So if you are a voluntary donor, you have to leave Lagos wherever you are to go all the way to Lagos Island. But now we have 3 centers, and we have many more centers so that every voluntary donor can have easy accessibility to donor centers. Also, the the component production, we had just one component production center with about 2 equipments then. So there's a backup, there's a major one. But now we have 3 blood component production centers, which has enabled us to be able to produce components from 96% of voluntary donated blood. So many things have happened. We also have our blood mobile. The first blood mobile that was there was...
that's the one that moves about and collects blood?
That collects blood.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, we have a beautiful one.
But, okay, so far you've been talking about blood components, infrastructure to power, room space and all that. Yeah. But imagine if I wanted to receive blood.
Yeah.
And I'm just the regular person on the street. How would you convince me that I'm safe in your hands?
So the first thing I'll tell you that you cannot know if you are safe until we check you up.
Okay. So you're checking the patient too?
Yes, we check if you want to have a blood transfusion. First of all, the doctors must make a request. Understand? So if it's a blood transfusion, once there's a request and the blood is taken, the sample with a sample collection form is taken to any of the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Committee licensed blood banks. There will be a compatibility test. But before that blood is transfused, we will advise that everybody looks at the blood bag for the Lagos State logo, which has this unique certification number. So every unit of blood has been screened in Lagos State. And our screening process is by fully automated World Health Organization recommended process or system. So once it is screened by that process or system, you will see a Lagos State logo there with a unique certification number. So that if you want to trace the blood anywhere, all we need is that number. I will tell you where the blood was collected, who it was collected from, what the screening process was like, how the compatibility test was done, and where the compatibility test was done.
Okay, that is for the person.
Yeah, that is for the person. Yeah, that's the patient. Yes.
Okay, so 2 million blood donor recruits.
Yes.
Why do you need more?
2 million blood donors over 20 years.
Okay.
So it's not enough.
And do you keep them?
Yes, we try to retain them. So
how often do they donate blood?
So I will say that out of those 2 million, about 10% are actually voluntary donors. And those are the ones that keep coming back. So we have 2 million and just about 10% are voluntary donors who will donate at least...
That's 10% of the 2 million?
2 million,
not 10% of the population?
Not 10% of the population.
Okay.
So you can see that despite... Yes. So despite the large numbers of voluntary or blood donors, it is only the voluntary blood donors that keep coming back to donate blood. So we are giving you a total number over 20 years. That is not the total number over 1 year. Okay. So in the last 1 year, for example, in the year 2023, we had an average of 130,000, a little bit over 130,000 units. And that was not enough for us in Lagos State last year. If you follow the World Health Organization mandate, the mandate advises that the blood needed in any community must be provided by 1 to 2% of that community. So if you look at Lagos State, what should we do? Is it should we go for 20 million or should we go for 2 million?
That many?
2 million. Yes.
No,
so
give me the math.
Yes. So what is our population?
Exactly.
So what population do you want to use? What figure? 20 million, 22 million, 26 million? What population?
Let's just use 20.
So if you look at 20 million and we do 1% of 20 million, so what is that number? That is about 200,000. So we needed 200,000 units of blood to save those that needed blood last year. But we're only able to collect 130,000 units of blood. That means we only had 65% of what was required, and there were still 35% of people that still needed blood to remain alive. Are you saying
some patients come up and there's actually no blood for them?
So there are times when patients come, they don't have adequate number of blood. So example, somebody says, oh, you need 4 units of blood. There might not be enough blood. You might just be able to have 2 of that 4 units. So we still need more people to donate blood.
And how often do you want each of them to donate blood?
So any individual can donate blood at least every 3 months. So that's about 4 times a year.
If he eats well.
If he eats well, if he's safe. Okay. So, before we collect blood, we will check you up. Okay. We will tell you to answer some questions and we'll do a blood test. So if you are eligible to donate blood, at each time you want to donate blood, you can donate blood at least 4 times a year.
Okay, so how do you quantify? You say over 1.5 million lives were saved. Yes. How did you arrive at that number?
So that number is arrived from the number of requests we've had. So we look at the number of requests, how many units of blood were transfused. So that is how we got them. So we looked at our records over the past 20 years. So in year one, in 2004, we had X number of requests. Out of the X number of requests, we had X number of units of blood. Out of the X number of units of blood, how many people were transfused? So we calculated the average over the past 20 years. So how many people's lives were saved with that.
Over 20 years?
Over 20 years.
And that was still developing slowly over the years?
Over years.
Better and better blood systems. Okay. So do you ever trace or meet or come across records of people who were transfused? Maybe how well the procedure went or anything like that? So
the Lagos Blood Transfusion Service has a subcommittee called the Hemovigilance Committee, and I'm proud to say that in Lagos we are the most active Hemovigilance Committee. So we receive reports from those that transfuse blood, the institutions, because every institution is encouraged to have a hospital blood transfusion committee. So we reach out to them, okay, how many units of blood have you transfused? How many people had blood transfusion reactions? How many people came back from one reason or the other? So we receive reports. Some of them are investigated. Some of them tell us, oh, thank you for what you've done for us. I received blood. I didn't have a blood transfusion reaction. I am fine. So we do have reports of those that have been transfused without reactions and those that have been transfused with reactions.
It must feel really gratifying.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the next step now to ensuring even safer blood, even better blood practices?
So the first thing is to encourage more voluntary blood donation. Voluntary blood donors are the single set of individuals that can give us safe blood because they don't have to lie.
Why do you say so? Why do you harp so much on voluntary donation?
So the first is that a voluntary donor does it out of free will. He's not interested in any form of payment. So they're usually very truthful and honest sets of people. Apart from that, because it is done out of their own desire, they've made up their mind, they always know when to come back. So a voluntary donor will be like, oh, my next appointment to donate blood is on this particular
let's
day.
Let's even come to that before we continue. Do you have a way of reminding your donors?
Yes, we do have a way.
It's time.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So apart from the fact that they have a card, immediately you donate blood, we give you a card with your next appointment, just like in every other hospital, you have an appointment card. So give an appointment card that, oh, your next donation is at this particular time. We also have something called the customer relationship management tool that sends automated messages to you once it is close to that donation. So those are the two major ways we remind donors. And if it's an organization, organizations usually give us the scheme of donation for the year. They tell us, okay, we want to donate in this organization in the next 2 years, twice this year, or they might say 3 times this year. Once we decide on those donation days, remind the organization. So organizations to do their best to remind their workforce on when to donate blood. Okay, so you like voluntary donors because they're not in it for the money, so they are likely to be clean and truthful and tell us if they have been exposed to any form of risks. Oh, that's if true. You have to ask those questions. You do ask those questions. It's actually a long set of questions. If they are taking any form of drugs that will not enable them to donate blood, if they've had a medical... Whereas someone who is a drug taker will tell you no, just so that he can get money. Yes. If there were remunerations for it. Yes, if there were remunerations. Okay. Or if it's a family replacement and you're really bothered about your family member or your friend, you are thinking more of saving that person's life and like, rather than the safety of your blood. So usually you know why voluntary donors are more important. And if you are a replacement donor, you are donating for that purpose, for that individual. There's really no motivation to come back and donate blood again. Unlike a voluntary donor who just wants to come and do it. It's like he's taking his checklist or a checklist. Have done it now, I have to come back. Because once you donate voluntary, the feeling is different. You are happy. There's this form of gratification, self-gratification and satisfaction. At the risk of being laughed at. Does that do anything to the blood? Well, no. In voluntary donors, blood is better. But if you're happy, you're happy. It's really not. You're just happy. It's not like it makes the blood more. But you're just happy to do it. Okay, tell us, blood needs are different in different settings. What has been the major single need for blood in Lagos? But we'll ask that after the break. Just keep that in mind. Yes. Stay with us. We're coming very soon.
Welcome back to the program. It's Health Matters on Channels Television when we are talking about blood. If you have questions on the topic, the number to call is 0808-054-2233. You can also send a message at CTV_Mary A. We were about to talk about what is the greatest need for blood.
For my records, the greatest need is in the obstetric unit. When I mean that, I'm talking about women, pregnant women, maybe in pregnancy, following delivery or during delivery. Once there is a need for blood, the requests are huge. It comes in 2s, 4s, as in it's like a geometrical request. It just keeps coming.
But the question is, why would a woman need 4 pints of blood?
4 and more.
4 and more.
You can even have 20, 30.
You said average is 10 in one human being, right?
Yes. So a woman is bleeding. So
and
we all
loses
know
half her blood?
Yes, can even lose more than that, because as you give, the woman might lose. So a lot of women lose blood when we have complications in pregnancies. For example, there might be a uterine rupture. The uterus might rupture for any reason. For example, there might be placental previa, maybe issues with the placenta that might cause them to bleed. There could be
that's the baby facing the wrong direction.
No, the placenta.
The placenta coming before the baby.
Things like that. So it could cause a lot of bleeding. So we have a lot of obstetric issues that could cause a lot of bleeding. I know the uterus is inside. Before you get in to try to repair or to try to ensure that whatever damage is done is as in solved, the woman might even bleed out all
so it's a
blood.
case of you're giving blood while you're trying to tunnel your way through to the place. So this is something that every Nigerian can understand, because if nothing, we are a nation that has children. We keep having children, so it's something that we can resonate with. I mean, the average Nigerian. Okay, so what would you now tell a person you wanted to recruit for blood? How would you convince me that it's really good? Although I'm already convinced because of the pregnant women. But I mean, in the what's in it for me kind of question. Why should I bother?
Thank you very much. So really, when I personally try to recruit people to donate blood, I don't even talk about the people that need the blood. I talk about the essence, the benefits of donating blood to the individual donating the blood. So the first is, well, you're going to have a free health check. You don't have to go to the hospital to know if there's a problem wrong with you. You talk to your healthcare personnel, pour out all your issues to the person. I will do some tests, your blood pressure, your pulse rate, your temperature, and we take some blood to see if there is adequate for you or not. Also, the infectious agents will also be checked, since HIV, they show for face, hepatitis, they show for face.
Do you check the liver, the kidney?
So we don't check at each time, but we have packages for regular donors, such that once you're able to donate 3 or 4 times a year, if you are selected randomly, yes, it's one of the packages for donor retention, and then we will do a chest X-ray for them, we'll do a liver function test for them.
Packages for donor retention.
So donor retention. So you are sure that apart from the on-the-spot health check you have when you want to donate blood, at the end of 3 or 4 donations, you have an opportunity to do a full health check. Apart from having a free health check, once you donate blood, your bone marrow has an opportunity to recruit new cells. And new cells are stronger, they are better, they're able to carry oxygen from organ to organ, carry nutrients from organ to organ, carry the excreted products from wherever it is being produced to places like your kidneys for you to be well passed out.
So in one word, you're more vital.
You are more vital. You feel better. You are stronger. We also have research studies that will tell you that people that donate blood have a better or steady iron level. And steady iron levels have been associated with reduced cancer incidence. So if you are going to donate blood, and there will be less incidence of cancer, good.
That's beautiful. Let's quickly take this call from Okorafor in Abia State. Hello, Okorafor. What's your question?
Good afternoon. That's Mazo Okorafor from Aruchuku in Abia State. My question, I want to find out from the doctor in studio.
I'm afraid I can't hear you very well.
Wait. Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, this is much better. Go on.
Okay. The question goes, people say this with tattoo on the body that they are not supposed to donate blood.
Okay.
Is it true or what? And sometimes you see people donating blood. I think there was an incident after donating blood, the young man fainted. What must have caused such a situation? And before one donate blood, how would you know that you have excess blood to donate?
Those are a lot of questions. Thank you very much, Okorafor. He has like 3 questions. Did you get them?
I didn't hear everything, so if you could just read the questions again.
Okay, so he is saying that some people, not in exactly the order he asked them, some people donate blood and they faint. Yeah. That's one. Number 2 is, how does he know he has enough blood to donate? And number 3 is, I don't recall. If Okorafor is there, can he quickly remind us? In fact, he said that one first. But let's go on.
Well, first of all, before we collect blood from you, as I said, a lot of tests will be done, including to know your blood level. So there are specified blood levels that you must have. Once you are within that level, then we will collect blood. So
you will be the one to tell the person.
We will be the one to
you are eligible to donate blood. Yes. Or, sorry, you don't have enough blood.
Thank you very much.
We can't take from you.
Yes, you don't have enough blood to give another person.
To give another person.
But
you have for yourself.
And we have for yourself.
So how about the fainting?
So before that, he also talked about when you have excess blood. So if you have excess blood, we still will not collect it from you. If it is past values like 52%, if it's a PCV, we'll refer you to a doctor because it is not normal for you to have such a level. So once the blood is even beyond the expected range you should have, we'll also refer to a medical personnel, especially a hematologist, to review to be sure that you don't have any form of diseases like polycythemia that could cause cancers in future. Now, people do donate faint for multiple reasons. The commonest cause of post-donation fainting is usually called a vasovagal reaction. So what do you call a vasovagal reaction? It's like a nervous one. First of all, if you have anxiety, you might be afraid before donating blood. Okay. So you will feel faint. Number 2, it could be the environment. Usually blood donors like cool, well, airy environment. So if the place is stuffy or it is, you feel like it is, if you are claustrophobic, there's a tendency that once you're donating the blood, you might feel dizzy. If you're a first-time donor, especially female donors, first-time female donors, we are usually very careful before we take blood from them. We want them to be well hydrated. We tell them to wear loose clothes. If you have belts, feel free. Because first-time donors to have a higher chance, because that's the first time your body is giving out such an amount of blood, even though you had excess to give us. So those are really reasons. And then on the second list of why you might feel dizzy, if you are not well tested. If you don't have enough for another person, or you barely have enough for yourself, and blood is collected from you, there is a tendency that you would also feel faint. So those are the major reasons. And that is why you must insist as a donor to have yourself well checked, to must see the results. We encourage our donors. We tell them, if you are between 12.5 and 16, if you are between this, then you can donate. If you are between 13.5, then you can donate.
What are those numbers?
So that's the hemoglobin level.
Okay.
Let me use the hemoglobinometer. So
women are usually 11, not so?
No, with 11 you are good enough for yourself, but with 11 grams per deciliter, you can't have enough to give any other person.
That's a revelation. But I must ask you, what are your challenges at this point? And I don't just mean, oh, we need more donors, infrastructurally and otherwise. What challenges are you facing?
So our greatest challenge is poor awareness. Even though we do our best to go for awareness drives, we go to schools, go to corporate organizations, it's still not enough to meet the level of awareness that we so desire. Because we have a lot of myths. We are a nation with very poor culture for blood donation. And so because we have a poor culture for blood donation, we have to do 10 times more the advocacy to convince someone to donate blood. I might tell you today you should donate blood, this, that, and you're like, yes, I know, but you know, that but always comes because there are some myths that are there, myths that are not even justifiable, like someone saying, if I donate blood, I will be thin, or if I donate blood, I might die. No matter how much you tell the person the benefits, because there has been a myth that has passed down from generation to generation or amongst a set of people, you need to do a little bit more to convince the person to donate blood. So we need to do more awareness, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk about blood. Other forms of challenges that we have are that we need to have full automation. We've started the automation drive, thank you to the political will of the government, but we need to automate all services so that when you want to donate blood, you can take your phone and be able to answer your questions, answer your eligibility questions, and be, at least you should have passed more than half of the stage of donating blood. We want to be able to say we need blood.
Can I just interrupt you?
Yes.
Because of Kolawole, who wants to ask a question.
Okay,
hello, Kolawole from Ado-Ekiti. What's your question?
Yes, madam. I think the last man I said my question. I've been a blood donor for all the many years. Then suddenly I went to the hospital. They now said I'm now of age, that I cannot donate blood because of my age. And I'm used to donating blood every year. I love donating blood every year. But and I love donating blood. I know I'm healthy. So why the restraint? Why tell me I cannot donate blood anymore and I want to continue donating blood? That's my question, please.
Okay. He's in Ado-Ekiti. Why?
So, Mr. Kalwe, thank you for asking us that question. So there is a age range of which you are eligible to donate blood, and that's between the ages of 18 and 65 years old. So if you are beyond 65, even if you are LD, we will not collect blood from you, especially if it is old blood. Other parts of the world, if it is plasma, that is, if you are taking some specific components, you could donate till 70 years old. So for us, if it is old blood, the red blood that is coming after the age of 65, we will not collect from you any longer. So I'm very sorry, Mr. Kolawole. Maybe you are past that age, and that is why we are unable to collect blood from you.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Dr. Oshikomaya. And thank you, Okorafor. Thank you, Kolawole. You don't sound 65, if I may say so. And thank you for your service. Thank you to all the viewers also who have been watching. Have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.